Genesis, where I'm your host, Genesis. Genesis means the beginning, or a beginning to some, so thank you so much for joining me. Today's podcast episode is going to be a little different. It's not going to be anything about like spirituality or anything like that, although I know that is exactly what you may be here for. I simply just want to talk about my experience while I was in Baltimore. If you watched my last podcast episode, then you would know that I traveled to Baltimore. That was a big exhale. I'm sorry. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to be honest. Moment of truth. It is currently 10 p.m. And I recorded this in the morning. I sat down to edit. And the first portion of my podcast was not recorded on my camera. So instead of quickly running downstairs to record it and try to align it with the rest of my podcast episode, I decided to get wine drunk. So, do you see it? It's literally right here. This is what I'm doing with my night, is drinking wine. We're gonna move that for a second. The reason I decided to drink wine is because I was not going to allow myself to get frustrated. Not at all, my guy. Not at all. So I decided to get wine drunk, and we made carne asada tacos, Hendrix and I. And that's how we celebrated today, watching The Ultimatum. Can we talk about Madeline? Homegirl gets on my nerves. I'm not even gonna lie. Homegirl gets on my nerves. How are you going to give your boyfriend an ultimatum where he's literally expressing that he will die for you, and then you get upset with him for giving himself the opportunity to venture out? I don't know about you guys, but that sounds a little, I don't know. But also, he's a douchebag, so like, they're kind of meant for each other, and they're still together. I stalked her Instagram. I looked her up. So, yeah, they weren't meant to be together. Anyways, what you guys came here for? Ooh, an update on my Baltimore trip. So I didn't know that Baltimore and Washington, D.C. were so close in proximity to each other. I didn't learn this in school. I literally did not know any of this. So when we decided that we were going to go to Washington, I was like, wait, isn't that on the other side of the country? Am I tripping or are you tripping? What are you on? Give me some. But apparently I was tripping because Washington, D.C. is literally like probably an hour away from Baltimore. At least it felt like it in the shuttle ride that we took. So, yeah. Surprise, if you didn't know, now you know. Yeah, so I went to Baltimore, and the only day we had to ourselves, we went to Washington, D.C. It was super fun. I'll tell you what, I used to think that California drivers were on some special kind of crack. But then I traveled to Washington, D.C. and I discovered exactly where the crack comes from, my guy. Those drivers out there are something else. They are dangerous. They are dangerous. God bless anyone who's learning how to drive in DC, because those guys do not give a fuck about your livelihood or theirs. They got people to see and places to go, so get the fuck out of their way. We almost got hit a few times. One of the times, well, not a few times, I'm exaggerating. It just seemed like a few times. Once is enough, if I'm being quite honest. We were turning it into a one-way street left, and we had to stop. The Uber driver had to stop because the car in front of us, I think, was waiting for a pedestrian. I don't know. I was more focused on the fucking car that was like coming towards us and like would slam their brakes and then honk and then come towards us some more and then honk. I don't know, man. That was more concerning than the pedestrian trying to cross the road, if I'm being quite honest. So yeah, that Washington, D.C. drivers are fucking on another level of like They got places to go and people to see. So get the hell out of their way. It was insane. But other than that, Washington was super beautiful. I think that the aesthetic out there is so gorgeous. I cannot tell you how many houses I saw that I fell in love with, because every little house that we drove by, I was like, oh my God, did you? That's exactly my reaction to every single fucking house that I saw. Super fucking cute out there. I loved the scenery. I will tell you what though, the White House let me down 100%. I was so excited. Like we were reminiscing in the situation. Like, you guys, we literally placed in state in a marketing competition. We are literally the best out of every school, like the few of the best out of every school that competed in the state of Utah. You're literally looking at future businessmen and women. Not to say that the other people that didn't place aren't, but like, you know, kind of felt on top of the world a little bit. And so because we placed in state, we were able to go to Baltimore as a result of that. So while we were in Baltimore, we were like all chit-chatting, and I was like, yeah, after we go eat, we can go to the White House. And a classmate of mine was like, damn, like, we're going to the White House? Like, you guys, we're going to go eat and we're going to go to the White House. Like, imagine if we actually got to go inside of the White House. You know what I mean? Like, imagine. That's not what he said, that imagine part. That's what I'm saying. But it was just so cool to reminisce and sit there and think like, wow, out of so many people in really expensive colleges and us, a community college, we get the same opportunity and we get to prove ourselves and show that we are the best when it comes to marketing. So that was really fucking cool. The rest of the weekend, Sunday, we got to do our competition and do a few workshops. But before I get ahead of myself and talk about the workshops, I want to talk about my marketing competition. It was a team. So it was myself and another classmate. Super fucking cool experience, I will say that. I liked the dynamic that we had. Me looking up the facts and the statistics and coming out with like what we're going to sell to the person who is the judge, who happens to be like, in theory, the CEO, the CEO of the company we're selling to. But they are just the judge. But in theory, they are the CEO. Right? We're walking into the CEO's office and we're saying, hey, this is how we're going to get you exactly where you want to be. Right? So, and my teammate, she's really good at doing PowerPoints. I am technologically not smart. So when it comes to things like that, which I know I need to get better at, but when it comes to things like that, that is not my strong suit at all. I'm able to come up with the theory, come up with the sell point, come up with everything else. Don't tell me to sit there and make a PowerPoint, because I will be there for hours. And you think that an hour for the case study that they give you in your marketing competition is enough? Like, an hour sounds like an amazing amount of time to prep for your sale, right? But it's not. I'm not going to lie. It's not enough time. So the category we competed in, keep in mind, there's a lot of categories people can compete in. A lot. I don't even want to list them off. Marketing is a huge freaking career to go into, because there's never an outlet that you won't make money in. It's just being good at that. But our marketing competition was international marketing. So the case study, we know the category where we are competing in, because that's where we placed, but we don't know what the case study is until we sit at the desk and we read it. So we don't know what company we're working for. We don't know what our sell is. Like, we don't know any of that until we're sitting there and time starts. An hour. That's all you have, right? And like I said, it seems like a lot of people would be like, that's a lot of time, but it really is not any time at all. So I'm sitting there doing research. The case study was, so we are opening a grill location that sells brisket steaks, pork, and grilled chicken, along with the sides, the potato sides, and coleslaw and corn, right? We are trying to integrate our market into Saudi Arabia and India. Seems easy, right? But we have to come up with a whole sell point. This is how we're going to market this integration. This is how we're going to change the menu, because if you don't know, in India people don't consume meat, and if they do, it's very seldom. I believe it is 4 out of 10 people that live in India consume little to no meat. 8 out of 10 people consider themselves vegetarian. So that's going to be a hard market to sell to, right? And then we have Saudi Arabia, where it's illegal, literally illegal, to import pork because of mouth to foot disease. I believe that's what I read, right? So as I'm sitting here looking up all these statistics and facts is what I'm trying to say. Although theoretical, we still have to be literal with our selling point. So my idea was, why not give you the opportunity to grow outside of these regions where you don't have to rebuild your menu and you don't have to restructure your imagery, or you could, but right now we want to make a profit for you, me talking to the judge. What we're going to do is open up your restaurant and open up chains around the surrounding areas. So instead of Saudi Arabia, why not open in Kenya and Nigeria, right? Perfect. And then instead of India, let's open in Nepal and China, because they're right there. Excuse me, that sounds genius. So we're gonna open up in places that I don't need to cut down my menu, and then when we make a profit, we start making a profit in these areas. You mean we can start restructuring our menu because now we are actually making money in this market? Excuse me? To me, that sounds like a great idea, if you ask me. But even though I felt that it was a great idea, you guys, it did not place us in first, second, or third. But let me tell you, the way that I walked out of that room, I felt so confident that we stood out of everyone else, because out of everyone else that I spoke to, it seemed like they restructured the menu, which is exactly what they wanted to do. So me trying to think above and beyond didn't really fucking help. But nonetheless, we stood out and we showed that we can think outside of the box. So that's what mattered to me, because if you don't place, at least you'll make an impact on the judge, right? So after that ended, we went to a few workshops, and we all had to go to 4 workshops in between certain times. So from 9 to 10, it was one workshop. From 11 to 12, 11 to 12 was another one. I'm not giving you exact time frames, but just know that in between these workshops, they were at least like an hour long. And then from there, we went to lunch, and then we went back for the other ones. In between these hours, there was 3 workshops that you could choose from. And the first workshop that I chose was, let me take this out. Actually, give me 1 second. Before I get into the workshop discussion, I'm going to go ahead and let this cool down, because I know it's going to overheat in a matter of seconds, and I don't want to sit here while I'm on a roll. And I'm going on a tangent. BRB, hold on. Give me 1 second, please. So, like I said, there was a few workshops that I got to go to. And one of the workshops that I went to in the morning was, why does money matter? And to most people, oh my gosh, I'm out of breath because I'm like over here drinking. I literally use that as an excuse. One, I'm not making excuses, because you guys know that my camera overheats, but I use this as an excuse to drink some wine, and then I like feel a little saucy, and then I get back into recording, and then I'm out of breath. Like something, not only because I'm drinking, but I always forget to breathe. I think I need to see a doctor. But as of now, I think I'm good. Anyways, one of the workshops that I went to was, why does money matter? The person that was giving this class mentioned, it matters because you need to be prepared for an emergency and less relationship conflict, because in relationships, money is a common conflict that people face. And I thought that was really interesting, because it's something that I could relate to in a sense. So it was just like, oh, whoa, that's true. And you think that you know these things, which you do, but then like when you know something and you don't know you know something, it's kind of like, oh wait, I think my mind just got blown just a little bit. So it was super cool to be a part of these workshops because I got to experience that a lot. One of the things that I learned, because he was speaking on personal experience, is if you were to open a credit card today at this very second and got approved for $10,000 and went to go spend that $10,000 tomorrow or tonight because you needed to buy a bunch of stuff that equaled $10,000, it would take you 30 years to pay that. And what you would end up paying is $26,000 because of interest rates. So what he was talking about in general was being mindful of where you get your money and where you're lending it from, to avoid like the payday lenders that you see everywhere that literally are like, get a loan today, where they'll fuck up your credit. Although there is a little bit to lose in a sense, they are still dangerous for your credit, so don't get lends from there. And also borrowing money, where it matters where you're borrowing money from. So if you get a loan from a certain place that, you know, is known for being scammers, you should probably do your research before getting a loan from these companies, because the lender matters, the terms and rate matter, their motives matter, and the protections that they offer you matter. So when you are looking for a loan, credit card, be mindful of where you're getting it from, because not all of these companies, or none of these companies, have your best interest at heart. And something that he also mentioned was making legal contracts with friends and family that are asking you to lend them money. And I think that was kind of like, that's kind of silly. Like, why would I make my best friend, if they needed money, sign a contract? Why? Because it's your money that you worked for. And when you come from a lifestyle that doesn't really teach you these things, where you're learning this on your own, you realize, okay, wait, hold on. Life is about contracts. Life is about handling things legally. It's not like, oh, I let them borrow money and they never paid me back kind of situation. And it was just kind of refreshing to hear that, because it reminded me of the field I'm going into, and it's business. And in that moment, I decided to take a deep breath and be grateful and show gratitude, because I didn't think that I would be going to college and to be sitting in a room full of a bunch of people that love business, with a bunch of people that love marketing and all of that stuff. It was really refreshing and rewarding to know that I have not had a doubt in my mind of where I am in my life with my education. I feel like I belong, and I can't wait to continue to feel that further down the line. Although I know I'm going to face a lot of challenges, that's like common sense, because nothing in life that's worth it comes easy. So I know I'm going to face a lot of challenges, but up until now, I am so happy to know that I don't doubt myself, and I don't doubt my ability to succeed. And I think that's super fucking cool. And I hope that more people feel that way, because I feel that I know too many people that go for a degree, and when they're in it, they're like, actually, I fucking hate it here. I have to give this thing a moment to overheat. It's already overheating. A moment to cool down, because she's getting a little hot. The next workshop that I got to go to, before I get ahead of myself, something that he suggested, which I feel like a lot of people should know, but a lot of people don't know. I didn't know what an IRA was until a few years ago, so I know that not a lot of people know what the following will be. But when looking for a job, although I know that not a lot of us get the opportunity to find a job that offers the following, I would suggest to look for a job that offers at least one of the following, because it's money that you work for and that you deserve to have. So he suggested, which also I suggest because I 100% agree with this, is finding a job that offers a 401k, an IRA, an HSA, or any other tax saving advantages that an employer may have to offer. Wow, the wine is really getting to me. So if you are applying for a job, I think it would be fair for you to ask if they offer any of those things. Again, that's a 401k, an IRA, an HSA, or any other benefits that they offer to match you when you are putting into that account, because in the long term, it will help you. On to the next workshop that I went to was maintaining your motivation. What makes you feel stuck? Things that make you feel stuck are a plethora of things that can affect your motivation to get a job done. Your environment, the selection and task, and the training that you have to complete that task. The question to always ask yourself is, do you want to perform? And if I do want to perform, how well can I? Or vice versa. Can they perform or do they want to perform? And although fear is super effective in creating motivation, it's a short-term response rather than long-term. And if you continue to implement fear to try to get employees motivated, it'll create a negative effect on them with their mental health. So that's not a genius idea. Instead, use your Jedi mind trick and give 2 options to get your 1 solution. So with kids is something that he decided to talk about and pinpoint is how kids at a certain age start to develop a sense of self and realization that they can and have the right to say no to a situation. And once they learn the word no, all you hear is no. Do you want water? No. Do you want food? No. Do you want to go outside? No. So, instead of offering your employees an opportunity to say yes or no, offer them the opportunity to agree to one of the 2 things that will get you to your desired outcome. And again, these things would make sense to the average person. But while I was sitting there, I was like, wait, what? I knew this. How did I not think about it more in a business mindset? Why didn't I think of that? Because I've never had that presented to myself. Which brings me to the next topic. When someone is trying to motivate you, their credibility has a lot to do with how well they're going to motivate you. For example, me motivating you to build a house. Saying, yes, you can build a house. You can fucking do that. You know why you can do that? Because you're a bad bitch. And that's as far as my motivation will go, because I myself have never built a house, nor am I ever going to find myself building a house. So therefore, me telling you, hell yeah, you can do that. Yeah, cool, awesome, you have that support. But the credibility that I have is seldom to none. So when I'm trying to motivate people that I have in a field that I have no experience in, it kind of comes across as not productive. It's actually counterproductive. So a lot of your credibility has to do with the motivation that you're giving. When you see a personal trainer and they're motivating you to get better, do better, get healthy, eat healthy, you're going to take that push, that motivation that they're trying to give you serious, because that is a personal trainer. Now, if someone who is a cashier is trying to push you to eat better, be better, and all the above, it's going to be meaningful, but the credibility is 100% different. So when trying to motivate people, keep that in mind. And that made me realize that although my goal is to motivate people and push people to be better and do better, my credibility also matters. I hate the fact that I stutter while I'm trying to say stuff, but that's what I learned in there. And I think that's the one of the many things that stuck out to me was credibility matters. And it's crazy how that goes full circle because of what I'm doing in my other classes in school is trying to sell something essentially, and talking about credibility and all of the above. Give me 1 second. This camera is overheating again. He also made it very clear to acknowledge that not everything is a motivation issue. It can be with the person itself. Is a person interested in the task at hand? Are they capable of doing it? Do they have the right amount of training in order to do the task at hand? And do they feel that it's beneficial for them long term? So, not everything is a motivation issue, but there are things that play into the lack of motivation, and people that may come across as simply lazy may not always be lazy. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Although we know this, it's important to remind ourselves this, because I know sometimes there are things that I want to do and I want to accomplish and I feel lazy, but I also feel a lack of motivation, and I know that my environment does have a huge part of the lack of interest in doing something that is going to benefit me long term. So that's what I learned. We went to a few other workshops. I can't remember what they were. I know that one that I went to, I was so eager to go to. So eager to go to. I was excited. And then when I sat there, I was like, what am I learning here? I was very upset. I'm not going to lie. I was very, very upset. But you live and you learn. And I realized that if there's workshops next time, probably ask around a little bit more. But a lot of us were intrigued about this workshop. And when we got there, we were thoroughly disappointed. Other than that, we got to market ourselves and get to know each other, and got my group, my class, we got to know each other a lot better, but we also got to introduce ourselves to a lot of new people. So shout out to everyone that we met that's new. Honestly, it was such a great opportunity to get to know the world from other people's eyes and find out that the way people communicate in business is through LinkedIn. I'm not gonna lie. So a classmate and myself were on the elevator, and we were talking to some guys. I can't remember what state they were from. That's something I learned, that I have to get better at remembering names and important information if I'm going to go because I'm going to go into this industry, which is business and marketing. But anyways, as I was saying, we were talking to them and they asked us for our LinkedIn, and we're like, we don't have one. And my second thought was, holy shit, is this how we communicate in the business world? So naturally, because we got our headshots that day, I was like, no, but we have our headshots. Mind you, I physically don't have them yet, but eventually we will have those headshots sent over to us. From where? I don't know. Who's going to give them to us? I don't know. How are we going to download them? I don't know. The point is that while we were at this marketing competition, we got headshots. And I will be honest, my picture looks like I'm supposed to be on a Sears commercial. And not like the up-to-date Sears commercial. I'm talking about like the 90s Sears commercial. You know how you see on Facebook people that are like taking tacky photos with each other with like the big vintage glasses, and they're like holding on to each other, or they're like this? That's exactly what I look like. That's exactly what I look like. That's exactly what I should be on. Whatever. It's almost 11. My brain is fried. As of tomorrow, I need to get an entire research paper done. The great thing about ADHD is you procrastinate a lot, but it's kind of setting yourself up for success, because last minute you get to prove what a bad bitch you are. It's not healthy. It's not the right way to function, but it's the way that I seem to function. Also, I came to the realization that I cannot go the next whatever years of college without the help that I got throughout high school. In high school, because I have dyslexia and I have ADHD, I had to have a teacher with me, and I got special treatment, as in I got to leave classroom for tests, or I got extra time on test, or I took an extra class to have a teacher walk through my homework with me. So I realized that although, yes, I'm an adult, I still have that disability that I have to deal with. And so therefore, I'm going to seek help when it comes to school. So this next semester, I'm definitely going to have to make time for that. And I come to the realization of, or the acceptance of, the fact that it's going to take me a lot longer to finish school because of that, because I can't take all the classes I wish I could, while also working full time and offering myself that opportunity to get a tutor to help me. So that's pretty much going to take place of an extra class that's not going to offer me any credit, but it's going to offer me the opportunity to succeed and set myself up for success. So there's that, right? There's the positive in that. Other than that, I really have, we did do other competitions for a different club. So it's 2 clubs mixed in one. And so whether we choose to compete in one, we have to compete in the other. And I found out that in our class, 53 awards have been placed, and our class is roughly small. And based on what my professor is telling me, I have placed. The downfall with that is the cost in travel out to Chicago, because this competition is in Chicago in June. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. If I can't travel out there, I mean, that's okay. I'm sad that I can't travel. I really am, but I'm trying to tell myself, like, at least I was good enough to place to go on to the next round of competitions. So that's where I am mentally. I get to find out tomorrow, which is yesterday when you're watching this video. A little sad about that, not gonna lie, but you know, it is what it is. I got the opportunity to travel to Baltimore, which was incredibly beautiful. I don't think I would have done that on my own, if ever. And to experience that, and also experience how well I am in this business, how well off I will be in this business, is super rewarding. So we will see how it goes for Chicago in June. Fingers crossed that the universe aligns me with a situation that will allow me the opportunity to travel out there. But also, I am accepting of any other outcome that the universe has to offer me as well. Because any opportunity that it hands me, it's an opportunity for success and growth. So, with that being said, thank you so much for watching this podcast video, this podcast episode. I apologize if you were looking for spiritual stuff or anything like that. I just really simply wanted to talk about my vacation, not vacation. That was literally work. So yeah, my apologies. Also, I realized that, you know how I said I don't doubt myself and my ability in this industry? I don't doubt myself at all, but I do know that it reminded me that women work twice as hard in an industry like this, or in any industry, to prove themselves. So I'm eager to prove myself to myself, and not that I need to others, but to prove myself to others and show them that I got a big brain and not just a face to offer is gonna be fucking cool. So the one thing that I can say to motivate you, anyone that's out there trying to make it big in life, know that you are paving the way for the next person that wants that same opportunity that you have. The same opportunity you are fighting for, that person's going to fight for that, whether you are there or not. But why not be the stepping stone? Why not be that opportunity to motivate? Why not be that credible source of motivation and also experience? I mean, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty rewarding to myself. I will end this podcast here because it's already at 34 minutes? going on 35. Thank you so much for watching this podcast episode. I truly, truly appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening, and I cannot wait to update you on where I am mentally in the next 2 weeks, and also what resonates with me and what I can give to you. So stay tuned for the next podcast episode in 2 weeks from today. Let's hurry and check that before my camera decides that it's a little too hot and shuts off. So on May 3rd, I will see you guys on May 3rd for the next podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. I will catch you on the flippity flip. And remember that your vibe attracts your tribe.